Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, AK Reads. Today we're going to be reading part 2, Geronimo Stilton, The Hawaiian Heist. Kiloha on the Cliffs. As we left the open sea and approached a small dock, Kai pointed out a house on a cliff. That's Kiloha's house. Her jewelry studio's in there, but her store is in Honolulu on Oahu. After we docked the boat, we walked to the house and Kai rang the bell. When no one answered, he called out, "Kiloha!" There was no reply, but Kai only shrugged. She might be walking around looking for inspiration. Let's go find her. I know all her favorite places. Have you known each other for a long time? I asked Kai. We have been friends since we were baby mouselets, he said. Hercule and I followed Kai around the corner past a small village, Main Street, and towards a beautiful white sand beach. There, by the water, stood a young rodent, holding a sketchbook. She was wearing a blue dress embroidered with starfish and a white orchid in her long black fur. "Kiloha, over here," Kai called, blushing all the way to the tip of his whiskers. She walked towards us and smiled, extending her paw. "I'm so happy you're here. I hope you can help me." She shook her head sadly. "Let's go up to the house, and I'll tell you more about the necklace." "What were you drawing?" I asked, curious, as we headed back the way we came. She opened her sketchbook as we walked. I'm working on a design for a pair of earrings. I'm finding it hard to concentrate in the house because of all the attempted break-ins." Her whiskers drooped. Kai looked concerned. "I don't want to add to your troubles, but I thought you want to see this." He pulled out a newspaper article from his back pocket. Kiloha frowned as she read the article. "I'm so happy and grateful to be making the wedding jewelry, but I don't want this kind of publicity. I want mouselets to hear about my work in a positive way. And I—" Gossip, Gossip. Stars to Wed on the Big Island by Chet Cheddar. The much-anticipated wedding of the famous actors Violet Brie and Roderick Van Ratten will finally take place tomorrow on Big Island. But there's drama brewing. Van Ratten wanted to commission a special piece of jewelry to give on Brie on their birthday. Rumor has it that his first stop was famous Madame No of EGO Corp. But just as they were about to shake paws on a deal, Van Ratten came across the work of an up-and-coming young rodent, Kiloha. He couldn't decide between the two talents, so he hired them both. But only one necklace can be the official gift. And it turns out Kiloha's was the winner. Word on the street is that Madame No is red. She's not used to being beat out by lesser-known designers. Has the wedding of the century created the feud of the century? We'll find out. No idea that Madame No would take losing a friendly competition so badly. Kiloha led us through the village and into her house. She offered us a glass of sweet pineapple juice and bowls of hapia, a delicious coconut pudding. While we were enjoying our snack, she took out photos of the fabulous necklace she'd crafted for the wedding. "We are keeping it in the Honolulu store for safekeeping." Holy Swiss cheese! The necklace was mouse-tacular. It was made to look like a Hawaiian lei, and the jeweled flowers in the garland were so sparkly they almost glowed. The delicate clasp on the top of the necklace had an inscription that read, "Our love is as beautiful as a flower." As we were marveling over the necklace, Kai brought out some more photos. "Here are the images from the store cameras," he said. "Someone broke in these 3 times, but was never able to open the locked display case or the necklace is kept." "Thankfully, they couldn't figure out the code," Kiloha said. "First they tried the window, then they tried the gate, and finally they tried to deactivate the alarm. "It's Aloha," Kai blurted out. He blushed red from his tail to the tips of his ears. "Oops, I shouldn't have said that." He looked over at Kiloha, but she only smiled. "It's okay. They should know the code anyways." Hercule pored over the surveillance photos with his magnifying glass. The thief was clever enough to avoid having his snout captured by the cameras. "But look, in this photo, you can see a little bit of his sleeve. This rodent is wearing a pink wetsuit. The Super Surfer race will be taking place on Oahu Island," Kiloha said. "The starting line is right by my store." I stroked my whiskers. Could the thief be posing as one of the competitors? I wondered aloud. "I have an idea," Hercule squeaked. "Geronimo will sign up for this Super Surfer race so that he can blend in with the other competitors and keep an eye on your store." "Moly mozzarella! I'm a mouse, not a fish," I cried. "I don't know how to surf." "Don't worry," Kai said. He patted me on the back. "I will teach you everything you need to know." He looked confident, but I was shaking in my fur. Hercule stood and gestured to me. "Come on, Geronimo, time to go. I need a nap and maybe a nice piece of cheesy toast to get my brain working." I sighed, waved goodbye to Kai and Kiloha, and followed Hercule out of the house. What had I gotten myself into? "You call this a vacation?" The next morning I woke up and stretched my paws over my head. The smell of the ocean coming through the window was so refreshing, I almost forgot I had a case to solve. I started flipping through the tourist brochure that was sitting on my nightstand. That looks fun. Might as well try to relax now that I was here. The first thing I'll do is breakfast. Then after that, I'll go to the spa. And after that, I'll take a walk on the beach, I decided. Maybe I'll try some delicious local food for lunch. I've heard the pineapple cheese is out of this world. I just picked up the phone to call room service when I heard a knock on my door, and Hercule's voice boomed in my room. "Are you still in bed, you lazy mouse? Kai is here to give you a surfing lesson." Rancid rat tails! I opened the door, and Hercule grabbed my paw. "Hurry up!" he cried, pulling me down from the hole. Behind me, I heard the door slam shut. I was locked out, and I was still wearing my pajamas. But Hercule was not listening. He dragged me all the way to the beach, where Kai was waiting for us. Just then a group of tourists from Mouse Island walked past us giggling. "Isn't that the famous reporter Geronimo Stilton?" I heard a mouse whisper. "What a funny-looking swimsuit." I groaned and covered my snout with my paws, but Kai laughed. "Don't worry, Geronimo. I have an extra swim trunk you can borrow." He dug out in his knapsack and pulled out an enormous pair of shorts. "And hurry and put these on so we can start our lesson." If only he knew I was in no hurry. But I accepted the swim trunks, and went to change. When I returned, Kai had two surfboards in the sand. Hercule lounged nearby on a towel, eating the snacks he had brought with him. "Nice outfit," Hercule called, and I scowled. "Don't pay attention to him," Kai said. "Come try out your board." I trudged through the sand, placing a tentative paw on my surfboard. Slimy Swiss cheese! How do I let Hercule talk me into things like this? But Kai was a good teacher. He had me lie down on the board and practice getting up into a standing position over and over again. He really worked my whiskers off. Soon I was sweatier than a cheese slice left out in the sun. But Kai was only just getting started. "Now, let's try your new moves on some real waves," he said. Just remember to stay away from the coral. It's very sharp and can slice your tail off. And when you get close to the reef, keep an eye out for moray eels. They can bite you. And most of all, watch out for the jellyfish. If they sting you, it will burn like crazy. Thundering cattails. Is that all, or is there anything else that can kill me? Of course not. Kai ruffled the fur on my head, except the sharks. But don't be a worry rat. You'll see their fins coming from a mile away. Squeak! I changed my mind. Surfing's not for me. I don't want to be sliced, zapped, sung, or eaten up. I just want to sunbathe on the beach. Kai burst out laughing. It's too late to get cold paws, Geronimo. You'll be fine, I promise. I believe in you, Geronimo, Hercule called from his beach towel. He flipped through the mystery novel he had brought with him and took a bite out of a banana. I was outnumbered. Reluctantly, I waded into the water and waited for the next takeoff, the beginning of a ride. Aerial. Briefly going up into the air with your surfboard, then coming back down while riding a wave. Pop-up. Transitioning from lying on the board to standing up. Floater. Riding the wave as it's about to break. Tube riding. Riding inside the tube created by the wave. Few hours. Ran drills with Kai. I waited for the waves and tried to stand up on my board. It didn't go well. I couldn't catch any waves. Finally, a perfect wave approached and Kai and I paddled out. This is it. You can do it, he called to me. I timed it out and jumped to standing, just as Kai had thought me. I'm doing it, I yelled, but my happiness quickly turned to terror. I felt a sharp, tingling sensation on my pain. Help! I squeaked. A jellyfish stung me. Call 911, I squeaked. It's just me, Geronimo. Hercule floated by my surfboard wearing a jellyfish hat. See? He held up the stick he had used to poke up my tail. Not funny. I huffed. I swam back to shore, and as I approached our spot on the sand, I noticed Kealoha had arrived to check our progress. She was sitting on the beach, sketching. As I got close, I could see she'd sketched Kai riding a big wave. Hello, Kealoha, I called, and she closed her sketchbook abruptly. Why, hello, Geronimo. Are you a super surfer yet? I shrugged. Keep your paws crossed for me tomorrow. I'd need all the luck I could get. Don't be such a scaredy mouse. The following day, Kai drove us to the airport. We're going to fly to Oahu, where the Super Surfer race was taking place. We drove past two active volcanoes, Mauna Loa and Kilauea. I don't think I've ever been this close to a real volcano before, I said. I know many legends about volcanoes. I'll tell you one later on our trip. When he got to the airport, Kai parked his jeep and walked us over to a small blue plane with the name Kai Travel Tours and Tales painted on its side. My whiskers trembled. Is that thing strong enough to carry us all? I asked. Of course, Kai said. I'm gonna fly you myself. I do it all the time. Hercule and I climbed aboard and I fastened my seatbelt extra tight as Kai started the engine. If we run into trouble, you can always bail out in the ocean, Kai bellowed over the noise. Munching rattlesnakes. The flight was bumpy, but short. At the airport, there was lots of athletic-looking mice wearing Super Surfer gear. Pele and volcanoes. Pele, the fire goddess, had a fight with her sister Namakoa Kahai. Because of this, her father sent her off with only a canoe. In search of a new home, Pele visited many islands and territories. In each, she dug a fire pit for a new home, but every time her sister found her and extinguished her flames. Pele made her way to the chain of Hawaiian islands, creating Heleki, the volcano on Muhu. Her sister found there, and they had a fight to the death. Pele's mortal form died, but she became a goddess and traveled to the Big Island. Here she dug her final fire pit, the Halemehu crater at the summit of Kilahu, where she stayed.